Loadout. It's over communicated with a lot of different options, and it's hard to kind of navigate what that even means. I have new things for loading out in 2026 I'm gonna show you. But first, we're gonna get into the new old 85 first gen 4Runner. So you might have seen this on my main channel, Mike Glover channel. It started out as white and a big chunk of rust. I bought it for $3,000. It was an 85 solid front axle SR5, which had all the fancy trim, like the rear heat, cruise control, just weird stuff you wouldn't think that the 80s had at all. But remember, this was like a 1 year only solid front axle with some sexy options, include the SR5 trim, and one of the most off-road capable rigs that you could buy for the money, $3 grand. The only rust that was in this thing was in the rear fender wells, which I just ripped out and had replaced. And we also got a fancy paint job. Now this is almost ready for the road. We got 35s with 15s on it. Plenty of clearance for the differentials, front and rear. And we did a rear leaf spring up front swap and ran 63-inch leaf springs in the rear off of a more modern 90s era pickup truck. And that softens the rear end a little bit, allowing you with more articulation. And we already flexed this thing out, and it's gonna do everything we need it to do. All in, I'm in this rig for about 20. Now, new fancy paint job, suspension's dialed, getting dialed in. We still have to do the high steer kit up front. But this has a GFC camper. A GFC camper, guys. So pop top integrated camper, weatherproof from GFC. So stoked for this. And then I have internal access to the popping of the tent. Now, a word of caution for my big boys. As somebody who's got a dad bod now at 230 plus pounds, 6'1", it's hard for me to fit in the back of this thing. Probably likely harder for me to get inside of the pop-up tent. And the pop-up tent is small. These things are not big rigs. So if you're thinking about this for you and the missus, it might be a little tight, unless she's like my old lady, very tiny. But you also put her downstairs in the basement. Like you could do a setup down here. Actually, I'll be sleeping down here. With the seats folded forward, I got plenty of room in here. All right, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this. Like, I'm not gonna bore you to death with what I think you should be loading out your gear with. A lot of that content we provide on Patreon. I do breakouts of med, all the first aid components, food, water purification and sanitization, fire. We break down all the elements on my Patreon. Just follow it down below, it's free. And you could support the channel by just paying for a tier 1 membership. I do giveaways like every month that are baller. Also, just a word of note, I try to get you guys some kind of coupon code or incentive if I'm talking about equipment and I'm working with a company, like I use it. So a lot of this stuff is linked down below. No pressure, no harm, no foul. I don't get paid by them anyway. But if you're interested, I'll link it down below. So let's start off with the priorities. Rubbermaid containers. Guys, I would not advise you to do a significant build out of shelves and drawers and everything else unless it's modular and removable. Like Goose Gear. I mean, it's modular. You can actually remove it. You could do just a plate, just a base, so you have a slick surface. Or you could do Rubbermaid containers. This fancy container cost me like $5 on sale, and it's got all my maintenance recovery, really the dirty box. But it's small enough to fit in here without overwhelming space. I don't need a Pelican case, a ruggedized version of this. I just need something that holds it together, right? I would use a cardboard box, but that's probably not as durable as a plastic Rubbermaid container. Some things that I have in here are recovery and maintenance. I have picked up one of these Wolf boxes. We're just testing this out, but this helps you air up and air down. Oh, we haven't even used it yet, but apparently it's highly recommended and reasonably priced because it's made in China. No big deal. But this is more robust. This is not what I'd be carrying on my motorcycle. It's heavy, but for the rig, it's what I need, especially for airing it up with a lithium battery versus having an onboard compressor. Now, likely this will get that, but I'm on a budget, man. I already spent a lot of money on this rig. I'm not trying to pay an extra grand just for an ARB air compressor underneath the hood. But if you got one on discount, hook me up. Fire starter kit, that's primary. I carry one of these. It's got a fire starter from Fieldcraft. I might bring this back for long haul supply. I love these old fire starters. Why? Because it's got a thick old rod on it. See that girth? And when I'm trying to save my life and making a fire, or just making a fire in general, I want something big, robust. I got little fuel cells. I have tinder. I have a knife in here. This knife is probably gonna be an Etsy knife, one of the best knives that you could buy for survival. Beautiful knife, Fieldcraft edition. Nice. I don't know if that's Essie knife. I might have just made that up. I also have an old school axe in here. This is one of my favorite axes. Keep it clean, but this is for chopping wood. Got some power inverters. I got my winch remote, 110 inverter. I have some ways to change a tire repair kit, and this worn bag with a whole bunch of things for tire repair and maintenance. And then a knife. I think I got a Dawson knife in there somewhere. Oh yeah, this is one of Kyle Thompson's Dawson knives from Undaunted Life. Undaunted Life? Undaunted. It's in the links in the description down below, and a percentage of this actually goes to charity. But big fan of Dawson. Look how that's built and made. Beautiful. Have that in here in my bug out. So that's maintenance recovery. This worn kit, which is a maintenance recovery / tire repair kit, highly recommended because it's got everything you need in there. I don't have a winch on this. I don't plan on doing anything kind of crazy with this rig. And if I am, I'm with buddies. Let's transition into first aid. Kind of in the first aid category is going to be protecting yourself from hypothermia. 50-degree swings, wild swings here in Utah. At elevation, it could be sunny and 70 and then freezing and snowing at night. So having a good bivy sack, I think this is a Kifaru bivy sack, mission essential. Now, this is separate from my sleeping setup. This is just an emergency kind of setup. I do have a bivy sack in here for emergency as well, but this is like, hey, gotta keep you warm because you're a casualty. And also if I need an extra sleeping bag because I'm cold, this helps as well. But that's part of first aid, right? Something new to my first aid kit, no affiliation. They're a great company, My Medic. This kit, which I'll link down below, is one of the most robust first aid kits for the fam. It's got all the redundancy. I break it down on Patreon, and I do add some things. Like I add tourniquets, I add an extra set of nitrile gloves. There are things that you need to add to this. A bivy sack. So it's not complete, but it has the most amount of viable and used kit that I've ever seen in a first aid kit. And it's relatively, compared to like the stop the bleed triage kits, pretty inexpensive. I do have an augmentation of first aid as well because I'm just that guy. And when I travel, I typically go with the fam and we roll deep, you know what I'm saying? And so I got the splint, I got some blood clot, I got hyphen chest seals, I got spare tourniquets, I even got a ratchet tourniquet in there. Fancy. On top of first aid, because it's important to mention, you need food and water. I got water. Some things that I use, I always carry these whenever we go out camping, even in the vehicles, is these grails, titanium grails. Meaning you could cook with them, you could put them on fires, have your coffee, your hot drinks, boil water. But also, if you've never seen a grail, you could purify the water by capturing it in one vessel and then pushing it through with the filter on the bottom with the other. So you put the water in here, capture it, put it on here, push it through, and all the clean water that's filtrated and sanitized goes into this vessel. And then you push it down, and pushing it down is not easy. Yeah. Okay, that's it. But one for me, one for the missus with the kids, and then food stuff. Some of this food, like I choose to bring with us, but I want a partition of this set aside for that just in case. Maybe it's just in case I'm hungry, but mostly just in case like things go wrong. I got a couple of these Heather's Choice. I don't know who Heather is, but she's probably a big girl because these things are full of calories and delicious. And I can't imagine Heather is anything other, and Ozempic, I guess that's a thing too. But these are amazing. Bison chili and shepherd's pie with grass-fed beef, money. But not as money as if you augment them with Carnivault. I've done a lot of content on this. These guys do support my podcast, the Mike Force Podcast. Freeze-dried, raw, uncooked top sirloin. There's like 100+ grams of protein in this bag, 6 servings. And then what I do is just constitute it with water, with salt, seasoning, maybe even a ramen pack, like Shin ramen pack, getting crazy, getting spicy. And then you add it to your shepherd's pie to get some real meat in there, extra protein. So food and water, really essential. I do these snacks on the go because I'll tell you what, if you're camping for more than a couple days and you're eating this kind of stuff, you're not going to use the restroom. And when I say restroom, you're not gonna poop at all. You're not gonna poop for a long time. So these Primal Power Bars, they're linked down below. A buddy of mine owns this company. 1,100 milligrams of beef liver, but they don't taste like beef liver. You know why? Because they're rolled in delicious dates and all the flavor is masked. There's not even the hint of it. And you get 200% of your daily B12. More importantly, there's peanuts in there. And you know what happens when you eat peanuts and high levels of B12? You poop a lot. And this is good for fiber, 0 added sugar, 10 grams of protein. Mission essential. I'm like doing 2 of these a day. Got the blood work done too, and they're money. Okay, segueing into commo. Guys, I am not going to blow smoke up your butt. If you're gonna buy one piece of equipment in 2026 for your off-road adventures, it has to be a Starlink Mini. And when you get a Starlink Mini, get a Star-Batt Mini battery powered setup. This is all turnkey because the Starlink Mini is actually in the top portion of this. You could actually turn this on and shut it, and it radiates through the top of this lid. So on the Mini, you could be roaming, driving around, and then have connectivity for data, streaming, all the things. Most importantly, not just the YouTubes and watching this channel and Mike Glover channel, or preaching to the choir, but also in an emergency type situation. That's why this is highly recommended. 24 hours of constant battery power in life with this lithium battery setup. It also powers other devices, which is easy to conceptually use. I could even plug it into this setup right here with the lighting for the GFC camper. And obviously it's 24 hours of continuous use. You don't need to power your Starlink Mini constantly when you're not using it, but just in case. So if you have devices, pads, or these POC-LINK Pros. So these POC-1 Pros are my favorite new radios. I've done a video on I think the 2nd gen of this. They do GPS, SOS. So if you're on a Starlink and your wife's at the crib, then you could talk to her by pushing to talk. And there's no latency because they have SIM cards. But you could also use it on Wi-Fi to piggyback the Wi-Fi if you're not in range of a SIM card. And the cool thing about this setup is you could buy it, and it comes with a 3-year service plan that's included for the SIMs. Or you could upgrade to a lifetime SIM. And the cool thing about the SIMs is it's not Verizon or AT&T. Like if you're adding Verizon, you don't have AT&T. And if you're in AT&T, you don't have Verizon. It piggybacks those networks. So you literally have reception wherever there's a tower. And when you don't, again, the Starlink is advantageous. It also does geotagging and keeps all your breadcrumbs for your GPS history. And they have like a 5-day battery life, which is rad. I have a coupon code for these in the link down below. But as far as value is concerned, especially with the additional, I think it's like $49 additional, you get the SIM card for life, and that's big. But awesome radios. These are a must in the rig. Bivy, cold weather gear, Bible. Here's a cool thing, man. Let me show you this. So if you didn't saw my new channel, Preaching to the Choir, I do it every Sunday and Wednesday. Wednesday's Bible study. I bought this off somebody that had this in the war, in World War I in 1918. It's the New Testament. There's even some cool little cards in here. It has the war roll from the YMCA, card of membership. Isn't that cool? From World War I, dude. 1918. Some soldier carried this on the battlefield. He didn't mark it up, but this was written by the American Bible Society in 1917. What? Praise God. So every Sunday, Preaching in the Choir, I'll link that down below. And every Wednesday, I do a Bible study one called Practice What You Preach. No cliches here. Keep this in this bag everywhere I go. Got a shovel, got a ladder, got some insulation stuff for camping. This breaks down, obviously. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Hey guys, I appreciate you tuning into the Fieldcraft Outpost. We're back. And a lot of the things that we do include telling stories of survival. We're gonna get back into that. If you have your own story of survival, check the email for contacts in the description down below. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for tuning in the channel. Subscribe, hit the notification tab. Follow my Patreon. I'll see you guys next time. Peace!